Synergy. Welcome to Synergy. Live with Synergy. Live with Synergy. This is your host, Andrea John Baptiste. Welcome to Synergy, where music, business, and culture synchronize.
Greetings, Atlanta. Welcome to another episode of Synergy, where music, business, and culture synchronize. And yes, we are with you for the next 50 minutes to an hour. And it is your girl, Andrea John Baptiste, bringing you some synchronicity this afternoon. Today, we have an amazing show. It's called Creatives, Behind the Scenes and at the Forefront. So those behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, sideways, always, that's what we're doing. And our first guest today, let me tell you, fantastic women scheduled for today. Fantastic. I'm so excited. I want to be like this one when I grow up. She is a digital dope dealer, PR executive, all-around creative, artist manager, and founder of Urban Relations. And guess what I found out? We said we weren't going to talk about it, but I'll put it out there. We went to the same high school. Now, not at the same time because she is considerably younger than me, but I have none other than the fantastic Naisha Nichols here with us in the studio for Synergy this afternoon. Naisha, you there? Greetings.
Hi, Andrea. Hi, thank you for that intro. That was beautiful.
Girl, I would have it no other way. I'm so happy to have you on today. So you know what? I'm just going to jump right in because I know folks want to know with all of those terms, what is a digital dope dealer, PR exec, all-around creative and artist? Tell me now in my mysterious voice.
Well, let me jump right into it then. A digital dope dealer is anyone that sits behind a screen and they have to deal with digital marketing, advertising online, strategizing, anyone that is someone behind tech. You are a digital dope dealer. I'm not the only one. I'm just the first one to start the wave, but there's a bunch of us. There's millions of us out there.
I love it. And you also do, so that's the digital space, but you also do all kinds of public relations. I consider you to be all-around creative. You've got your hands in all kinds of pots, doing all kinds of fun things, and you manage artists as well.
Thank you. Yes, I have a lot of fun with what I do. I'm able to merge all of my skill sets together in my business, digital marketing, public relations. I work with some of the biggest festivals in the United States, Caribbean mainly, all of the jerk festivals, the great Jamaican jerk festivals. You name it, I'll probably work with them in some sort of capacity. And I work with artists as well. I've worked with Inner Circle, Morgan Heritage. I have to thank them for giving me my first Grammy. I didn't even know that a publicist could get a Grammy, but working with Morgan Heritage, I received that. And, I just have so much fun doing what I do, and there's just so many elements. And like you said, it's just about being a creative, and that's how I look at myself. I really call myself a creative digital dope dealer. That's pretty much how I look at myself.
Hold up. Atlanta, we're going to have to do, I don't know how you do a live rewind, but reel, pull up, and come again. Did you just say a Grammy, girl? Did you just say a Grammy?
Yes, I did. I was shocked, too.
So wait, we're going to have to restart this whole intro because Atlanta, guess who I have here today on Synergy, where music, business, and culture synchronize. I've got the great Grammy award-winning Naisha Nichols, digital dope dealer, PR exec, all-around creative, artist manager, and founder of Urban Relations. Now I got it right, y'all. We got to give our props and our dues where our dues go. Girl, I never knew that. All these years of knowing you, salute. That's big things.
Thank you. And you know what? I don't want to segue too far into the conversation or into the topic, but, I don't really talk much about it. And as women, we have to start talking about our accomplishments more because our guys don't hesitate to tell you what they did and what they didn't do and what they're going to do. So I'm starting to take that on more, just, talking about my accomplishments more. Ladies, you're listening, take hold of your accomplishments and be proud of them.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that. I say Stella because we do not, even, I can speak from just my own personal experiences, the things that we accomplish or awarded for. I stress when I have to post anything about it, and you want people to know you've accomplished something, but you still want to come across as humble or, and so on. And we've got to get that out of our spirit. When we are champions, we are just champions. And you know what? Even if we hide our life under a bushel, somehow it always comes through. So, ladies, just to reiterate what the Grammy Award-winning Naisha Nichols just said, okay, let your light shine. Be proud, okay? Don't hide it under no bowl. Speak it loud. So how did you get started into the world of arts, entertainment, music, Grammy Awards?
Well, I always knew I wanted to be in music in some way, shape, or form. Like, I used to freestyle, and believe it or not, I was kind of hot. Like, I had bars. but then I was like, I don't think this is really the route that I want to go. And I was in the nonprofit sector for a while, and then I had an idea for an event, and I didn't know how to start it. I didn't know what to do. I just saw that the radio station here in Miami, 99 Jam, always was sponsoring events. So I just picked up my phone one day and told him about my event. I had a whole proposal put together, and I told him about my event that I want to do, and I said, how can you guys be a part of this? And whoever answered the phone, God bless that person, said, you should talk to someone named Velvet Jordan in Broward County. And from there, the doors just started opening up, and I didn't even know what I was doing at first. And
did you just say Velvet Jordan?
Yes, that is my mentor. That is my,
Oh, let me tell y'all. Wait, I'm snapping it up right now because we have, this is synergy, y'all. I mean, Velvet Jordan, I call her Mama Velvet. That is my bona fide sister, raised me up in the event. That's one of the places that I got my start as well in terms of hosting events, Naisha. Big up to that sister.
Wow,
okay?
Look
Big
at that.
Up the roof for her. Velvet Jordan, Atlanta. Y'all don't know who she is, but you got to know who she is. You're going to get to know who she is. And as a matter of fact, her daughter lives in Atlanta, and she tells me that she tunes in. So, Sean, this one's for you and your mama, okay? Because let me tell you, Mama Velvet, she has raised up a whole lot of queens out of South Florida.
Preach.
More props.
Preach. And I was blessed to come from that staple, and she just sent me out there to just fly. And, she put me in so many positions and situations. And from there, it just kind of grew. And I didn't even know what I was doing. And it wasn't until one day someone said, you know that you're these people publicists, right? And I was like, that's what that is? Oh, I didn't know. I had no clue that's what I was doing, but all right. And then my mother, who is Jamaican, both of my parents are Jamaican. I just want to fast forward to rewind to 1996 real quick. When she purchased a computer for me and not knowing what to do with the computer herself, she just knew that she had to provide that condition for me. Whether she understood it or not, she just knew that I had to understand it moving forward in my future. So no, fast forward to when I discovered who I was becoming, I started applying some of the technical, knowledge that I gained and just started just doing things and just started moving. And then I got on radio. I started a hip-hop blog, and I got real busy interviewing people and going to different shows and interviewing Nicki Minaj before she blew up, interviewing Rick Ross, Flow Rider, you name it, I spoke to them. And life has a way of telling you to just slow down, and I got kids, and that slowed me down, and I moved to Atlanta, actually. I was living out in Camp Creek. That's what it is. I was living out there in College Park area, and I just stopped everything. I wasn't doing anything. I had my son, and then the bug for Miami came back inside, and I just moved back to Miami and jumped back in like I never left, and now here I am. You know, it just never stopped, and I just had to look at life and say, okay, I'm here for a reason. I don't know what, because it's just happening. You know, let me just go with the flow and continue to build from there.
And that is the best way to do it, girl. Go with the flow, because if you have those positive intentions and clean intentions, you know that flow is just beautiful.
Oh man, tell me about it.
I tell you, Naisha, that was a beautiful story. And you know what? One of the things that I just gleaned as parents, create the right circumstance for your kids, even if you don't understand it. You know, so many of us now, especially in this digital space, technological space, we don't understand some of the things that they're trying to do, the way that they're looking at working. Millennials have a whole new work structure. Allow them, man. Allow them. Let them come into their own. Things are ever changing. Naisha, you mentioned, you touched on earlier that you are involved in some of the larger Caribbean events, and I mean, I know for a fact that we've worked with you through Best of the Best. We've worked with you through Taste the Islands. We've worked with you through Jerk Fest and so on. Tell us about a couple of them, and I'm going to ask you this, and if you can plead the fifth, but do you have a favorite that you work on?
I'm definitely going to plead the fifth on that one.
Smart girl.
Will not answer that question, but working with these festivals throughout the year has allowed the culture to be spread around, especially through food. One of the festivals that I work with, Jerk Festival, the main objective behind it is the food, and the artists come next. But with the food, you get to experience the culture firsthand. And I love seeing that. I love seeing families come together and enjoy a whole day by way of our culture. It's beautiful, and actually, you know, getting your hands dirty and your feet dirty in the actual trenches of building a festival out. It can be stressful, but it's so rewarding at the end of the day. You get to actually bring your culture to people that probably never experienced it or don't have a way to experience it by going back home, and they're able to come and spend a day with you. And that's fun.
And these events that you work on, I mean, they're growing, particularly the Jerk Festivals. I know the one in New York is a staple. The one here in South Florida is a staple. People look forward to it. And when I say people, American people, Jamaican people, the Caribbean people, the whole South Florida community, it is, people will save, for Jerk Fest. Is what I've heard, that I'm not going to this for show, or I'm not going to this because I want my big VIP pass for Jerk Fest so I can really full enjoy the moment.
People plan their year around Jerk Festival, and they pick which city they want to go to, and, it's so amazing, especially when you see the engagement online and the requests and people saying, bring it to our city, and believe me, we have plans to go to other cities. I just can't talk about it yet.
Okay, another one, she's pleading the fifth, y'all. You know when they're pleading the fifth, that they're doing amazing things. So, in terms of the business side of event management, you just talked about the amazing opportunities to bring the culture. So, and you said fun. So what part is the most fun for you, and what part could be the most challenging? You mentioned it could be stressful.
The most fun is seeing mainstream media cover the Jerk Festival. That brings so much joy to me, because I'm American, parents are Jamaican, and you hear my accent. I speak like this, but I live like a Jamaican. I live like a Jamaican 24 hours. So me being able to convey the culture in a language that some people can easier understand brings me a lot of joy. When you see the New Yorker picks up the Jerk Festival and talk about it, it's amazing. When you see, Fox 5 and they want to do a whole special on the Caribbean, and they want to pick Jerk Festival as one of the events that they put in their piece, it brings you a lot of joy to see that, and get those type of requests. And then the hardest thing is getting the mainstream media also to also a challenge. It's bigger than a lot of people might think. And I feel that we're getting to a point where our culture is getting back to that 90s look. Do you remember how it was in the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
Where I think that's coming back. I for some reason I feel like that's coming back. I don't know I don't know what our people did to mainstream. I don't know what they did, but they are not letting us in like they used to. But I think the tables are turning.
Mm-hmm.
We're at a tipping
I agree.
point where things are going to change.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. I love it. Wow. Amazing, amazing, amazing. We are on the line today, if you're just tuning in, with our digital dope dealer, PR executive, all-round creative, artist, manager, and founder of Urban Relations, Grammy Award-winning Naisha Nichols, as we talk with creatives behind the scenes and at the forefront. And after break, we're going to come back and talk with an emerging artist named Nefatari. But we are on now with Naisha Nichols. And Naisha, you just completed a series of, I believe it was on Instagram, right?
Yes.
Thinking Digitally Now. Tell us about it.
Yes. So I started Thinking Digital Now as a 4-part live series, just something that I wanted to do. I didn't really have any plan, but I just knew I wanted to talk to my people and my network about digitally thinking. Streaming is something that our culture depends on, and it's not. I don't think that we're understanding how streaming works, and I don't think we're actually active enough in the game of streaming, especially our artists, anybody that's executives. We have to start looking at how streaming is being structured. For example, Google just purchased Spotify, and no one's talking about it. It was done very quietly. That's scary because Spotify now, well, no, not now, but a couple weeks ago, their new payout is lower. It's the lowest, and they're bringing in more companies, and they're getting more money. Something's wrong with that model. More money, less payout. And if we don't take control and speak up, they're going to continue to do these things. The streaming industries are determining your artists, and any artists that are listening, they're determining how much money you can get now. And they're determining it by pennies, fractions of a penny. And they're getting millions of dollars a month on advertising. They sold for $42 billion. So there's money there, and I just want our people to wake up. And that was one of the main things that I wanted to talk about. And strategizing and branding and the content, all of that goes together. And if we actually take the time out to do that, and not everybody can, but if you take the time out to try to understand it and build out your own strategy, you'll see such amazing results when it comes to social media and what you're trying to do online.
Amazing. So give us 3 tips for those creatives that are tuned in. We're talking about where music, business, and culture synchronize. Give us three quick tips for creatives for that digital space, for conquering that digital space.
Know your goal. Know your goal, what you want to do. That is the key purpose before you start posting, before you start creating pictures. What is your purpose of opening this account? What is your purpose with this product or whatever you're creating? Why are you creating it? That's 1. 2, think about the quality that you are presenting to your audience. Always think about that, because your audience, just like they say, what's the saying when they see you first? First impression is everything. You have to make sure your branding looks good and you're putting out quality products. And 3, know who you're talking to. Know who you're trying to speak to. Know your audience when you're trying to create. Know who you're creating for. And those are my 3 tips that I can leave you with.
Wow. Good word today. Know your goals. Put out some quality products and some quality-looking visuals in the digital space, and know your audience. Oh, my goodness. Funny how time flies when we're having fun, Naisha.
I know.
You had mentioned something earlier about women, and we've kind of talked on it a little bit about being okay with sharing our accomplishments. But are there any other maybe nuances or differences or concerns or specific tips for women in the digital space? Anything that you've come across that you think, you know what, this is not necessarily, this may be some gender, I want to say bias, but because it's not always biased, but things maybe a female should do or shouldn't do, I don't know.
Stretch your hand
Teach
out.
me.
Lend a helping hand. That's it. Lend a helping hand to your sister. That's it.
Wow.
You'll be surprised how far that goes.
I love it. I love it.
Do you need me to help you with something? That's it.
Wow, sister, you hear that? Stretch your hands out. And so now I know that something that we didn't know about your work earlier was the Grammy piece. I'm blown away, amazed, and definitely even in more awe and admiration of you. But is there anything else maybe about your work in the digital space, in the creative space, in the artist management space, in the event management space that people don't know, that, you know, you're like, you know what, people may see this and they don't ever have a clue that this is kind of some of the stuff that goes part and parcel with any of these things that I do?
I honestly think I think everything is on the table, you know. I'm just me. I'm a mother of 3. A lot of people don't know that. I'm a mother of 3 kids, beautiful kids, 2 boys, 1 girl. Jamia is 15, Amir is 7, and Mark Nicholas is 11. So that's a lot. A lot of people don't know that, and I'm raising some people to come take over some spaces in the world. So yeah, that's what a lot of people don't know about me.
Wow, I love it. I met your daughter at one of the events, and I met her just because she looks exactly like you. I was like, that's Naisha's daughter. I looked at my husband and I said, that's Naisha's daughter right there. And he looked at me and he said, yes, that is. And then we went over and she was so pleasant and wonderful. You're doing a great job, Mommy. Great job.
Thank you. And, you know, I really keep my family and the business really separate. You know, you don't see me post up the kids and the family on social media very often. And I do that because I want my kids to have their own life. I don't want people to see my kids out and, you know, think that they can talk to them and address them or speak to them. You know, I just want my kids, and when they're ready to do that, they do that. You know, they go on social media and live their own life. I don't want them to live a life through my friends and my network, you know? I don't know if that makes sense, but I just
no, it does. It makes perfect sense. No. I believe. You know, I grew up in a family of music. My father has been in the industry for a very, very long time.
Yes.
And there are people call them star and celebrity, and we call them uncle and auntie, and you know, that kind of thing. And I also keep those relationships very private as well. But one of the things that growing up in that environment taught us was the need for privacy. Because some of these folks, their lives are on a public stage for the most part, they need their privacy. Their families need to be families. You know what I'm saying? They need to go through their hurts, loves, the high points, low points, whatever, in private. I think we all need that. And so
you should know what my relationship is up and down. You should know all of that. That's too much information.
Exactly. And Daddy used to always tell us, you know, nobody must know what's going on in this house. When people come here, if you don't hear anything, you know, keep on the mouth. Keep it shut. Keep it shut. If I hear my business, if I hear family business outside the road, everybody getting beaten. And we were so afraid of beating that, you know, we kept it shut. But now as an adult and being in a little bit more of a public space, I do understand that need, and I understand what he was saying and what he was instilling in us. The respect for other people's privacy and an appreciation for our own. So, sister girl, I agree with you 150%.
Oh, man. Thank
Naisha, we have got to say goodbye for today, but I have just so enjoyed, and I know that our listeners have enjoyed hearing about the major accomplishments. And this woman really, in my opinion, embodies synergy. She really has synchronized in her work, in her day-to-day, where music, business, and culture, they synchronize in Naisha Nichols. Naisha, I give thanks for the time. I give thanks for the opportunity. I wish you many blessings, and I'll see you at the next event.
No, thank you. I appreciate you so much, and big up to your listeners, and shout out to Nessie when you talk to her. Tell her I said hi.
I sure will. Blessings from blessings. Until next
All
time.
right.
From you're thankful for your life and its blessings, put up your left hand at the ear and say, Jah! It is good to give thanks to the King and to sing praises to thy name, O Most High Jah. To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 string, upon the harp, upon the psaltery with a solemn song, would I sing for thou, O Lord God, Jah Rastafari, have made thy glad. I will glory and magnify the works of thy hands, O Most High Jah. Our blessings, man, blessings, so much we have it can't count. Numbers no exist for the amount. Rasta, we have blessings, man, blessings for real, so we think still. So I man, I give thanks every day, all day for all these blessings, pan blessings, Jah overflow through we. As I and I give thanks itinerally, eternally for all thy blessings, pan blessings. So why should I complain? Then ungrateful would be I man name. In the face of the storm, Rasta don't have no fear. I'm unaware, so I prepare while I see the masses running scared. Wicked beware. Rastafari, I shield and guide. I ever thankful, I ever blessed. Rastafari by eyesight, so I be stressed. When I blessings, pan blessings in provide. Any obstacles may come, I and I take it in a strike. Rastafari has been more than generous with I and I grateful love and blessings he has given to I and I. Cause I have blessings, pan blessings. So much it can't count. Numbers not exist for the amount. Rasta, we have blessings, pan blessings for real, so we think still. So I man, I give thanks every day, all day for all I blessings, pan blessings, Jah overflow through we. As I and I give thanks itinerally, eternally, cause I have blessings, pan blessings. So why should I complain? Then ungrateful would be I man name. Sometimes I look upon I man youth, it want bring tears to I man I. Like what I do to deserve the blessing given all these years to I and I. I know the goodness and mercy of his majesty, surely I follow I. So I fulfill his will now, be joined up for what will swallow I. I blessing come on credit, so I work for pay it off. True service to others like Adam always said it. Living life the way it off, with gratitude, Jah love I spread it. Complacency I fight it off, some grab the wheel and spread it down life road, Jah write it off. Our blessings from blessings, so much we have it can't count. Numbers not exist for the amount. Rasta, we have blessings from blessings for real, so we think still. So I man, I give thanks every day, all day for all I blessings from blessings, Jah overflow through we. As I and I give thanks itinerally, eternally for all I blessings from blessings. Why should I complain? Then ungrateful would be I man name. Jah give I blessings in abundance, so oh yes, I'm grateful. If I should complain, oh then I'd be ungrateful. When I have life, I have health, food, clothes and shelter, love and support and family, good friends. Jah love the source of I man wealth, I man strength. Flows like a waterfall, it have no ends, I transcends. Time and space, the human race, we love without pretense. So I and I gratitude, it go extend. For love and joy, just send. Blessings from blessings, we have blessings from blessings. So much it can't count. Numbers not exist for the amount. Rasta, we have blessings from blessings. For real, I saw the things still. So I man, I give thanks every day, all day for all these blessings from blessings. Jah overflow through we. As I and I give thanks itinerally, eternally for all I blessings from blessings. Why should I complain? Then ungrateful would be I man name. So I give thanks to life, I give thanks to health, I give thanks to food, clothes and shelter. I give thanks to sanity, I give thanks to dexterity, I give thanks to agility, I give thanks to mobility, I give thanks to reasoning ability. I give thanks to love, the power that binds and creates. I give thanks to music that resonates and vibrates. I give thanks to mommy, I give thanks to daddy, I give thanks to your ancestors, I give thanks to your elders, I give thanks to your brothers and sisters, I give thanks to the youths. I give thanks to sun, moon and stars, I give thanks to heat, air and water. Yeah, I give thanks to the sea, I give thanks to the river, I give thanks to the breeze we blow, I give thanks to the mango tree, I give thanks to the pear tree. Yeah, I give thanks to the dog, I give thanks to the cow, I want to stop eat them too. Yeah man, we give thanks to everything in our creation, and all of the blessings, and all of the hard things we wanna call life lessons. We give thanks to them too, cause them make us strong, you know. So our blessings, pan blessings, so much we have it can't count. Numbers not exist for the amount. Rasta, we have blessings, pan blessings for real, so the things still. So I and I give thanks every day, all day for all these blessings, pan blessings, Jah overflow through we. As I and I give thanks itinerally, eternally for all I blessings, pan blessings. Why should I complain? Then ungrateful would be I my name. Give thanks.
For the past 12 years, Axum Management Capabilities has helped individuals, businesses, and municipalities move from capability to actuality. Our team of experienced business developers will help you to start and grow your business. Let us help you create your business or strategic plan. We'll create with you a responsive marketing campaign that gets you results. How about a new look or a brand makeover? Need a grant written for your nonprofit? Or how about having a corporate event planned? Well, visit Axis HQ or call us at 954 742 9166 to get moving from capability to actuality. Axel Management Capabilities, your full scale business development firm. Welcome back, Atlanta. We are now on with none other than Nefatari, model, musician, true creative, joined us here today after a fantastic conversation with our Grammy Award winning Naisha Nichols. And let me tell you, we're talking about creatives behind the scenes and at the forefront. And this young lady is all of that. A model, a musician, an artist. Welcome, 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 Nefatari on Synergy. We are so excited to have you for this second half of a fantastic show. Welcome, girl.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me.
It is our pleasure, absolutely. So, my dear, tell us, you are what I call a true creative. And reading your bio, all the things that you are able to do, tell us about you. I want you to tell our listeners who Nefatari is. Give us the full breadth, full scope of your talents and giftings.
I started. I'm a creative. Exactly what you said. I'm a creative. I think that's the best way to sort of describe me. But I started my career in modeling. I used to model for Dell Computers. I was in a Dell Computers ad, and I also did some stuff for Tommy Hilfiger. So I started the modeling. But the music was really my passion. So I started, I would like sing in choirs in school and that sort of thing, and I'd always be singing at home. And so finally there was an audition one day for a girl group, and I decided to audition for the girl group. And that's sort of how I got my start, professionally with the music.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And you mentioned you're in New York. Now, does this all happen in New York or someplace else?
Let's see, the girl group, no. So the girl group didn't happen in New York. The girl group was actually, I saw the audition somewhere. I was living in New York at the time, and I saw the audition somewhere, and the audition was actually posted to be in Boston. So I had driven to Boston to audition, and I ended up getting it. And so every weekend they would have rehearsals every weekend with the group, with the girl group, and I would have to travel from New York to Boston, or sometimes from Connecticut to Boston, because I was in school at the time in Connecticut. And so I would travel every weekend to go to rehearsals in Boston.
Wow. Tenacity, as well as consistency, as well as sounds like some sacrifice in getting there, huh?
Definitely sacrifice. I mean, that's been like the name of the game my entire career, and anything in this entertainment business is going to take sacrifice. Like, you really just have to love it to be doing this.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the sacrifices that folks may not, doing the show and working with established entertainers as well as up-and-coming, primarily the up-and-coming folks, often sometimes, know that there is sacrifice, but they don't necessarily know and understand the types of sacrifice. So give us a couple of examples. I mean, you talked about giving up your weekends for a while. Anything else that you want to share with us about the sacrifices of being in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different types of sacrifices that were made. I mean, with relationships. A lot of times, I've experienced it, and I have a lot of friends who've experienced it. Having a romantic relationship is very hard in this business, just because there's no set schedule that you have. If you need to go to the studio and the studio only has time open from 11 to 2 a.m., you have to go. Or if somebody says they need a dub by tomorrow, you have to make time and go do the dub. And sometimes you have to sacrifice your personal or your romantic relationship with someone to make sure you get the job done, So a lot of times there are people who are not, comfortable with that, and it can really threaten a relationship, And if you're doing this, if you're doing the music thing, it's the type of thing you have to give it 150%. And sometimes some people can feel, neglected, to be going so hard. I'm sure NBA players or Olympic athletes or surgeons who are known to have like a hectic schedule, it's kind of the same thing that they go through, So that's like one of the sacrifices, also, for myself, and I know a lot of other people too who are intelligent people and could probably get a 9-to-5 being like the VP of whatever corporate America business, making a ton of money, and you can't necessarily do that pursuing something in entertainment. You kind of have to have something that's more flexible, less demanding, and I have friends in the same position who like turned away from I guess what you would call a more stable or secure, position working, or a more secure, stable lifestyle financially in order to be able to pursue the music, and that's a huge sacrifice. It's a huge sacrifice financially, and it's a huge sacrifice with sort of like your career or your life trajectory. You know what I'm saying? Because you're taking a huge risk by turning away from this thing that's like really secure, like a 9-to-5 job, and turning to like entertainment or music.
Wow. That's, keeping it real today with Nefatari on Synergy. As we're talking, she's a true creative and talking about what goes into the successes, and we're talking about the sacrifices. Relationships is one of the things that Nefatari just shared with us. Stability in both the relationship with financial and so on. So I appreciate that because, and I'm sure our listeners do too, because sometimes until it's up on you, you don't necessarily, realize the level of or the cost for doing what you love. Let me ask this: what do you consider to be? Because you just talked about being on a mission, girl. Making those sacrifices, being focused. What do you consider to be your musical mission?
I've always, my dream has always been to
be able to get on a stage and have the crowd sort of, chanting back my song to me. That's always been a huge goal of mine, to be able to experience that. And, of course, I think another main goal is to be able to make a living from just music, and like make not even just a living, to be able to make a great living off of just music. I think that's the goal. When it gets to that point, you're sort of good,
The one job, right? Even though it's multifaceted, it'll be the one job.
Exactly.
And no more quote unquote starving artist.
Exactly.
So tell us about your new single, Favorite Girl. Where did that come from? What inspired that song?
Yeah, so Favorite Girl is my new single featuring Cyclone, and it was produced by New Vision Empire. And it's funny, so, Cyclone was working on his album, and he invited me to be on the album. So I reached out to my producer, New Vision, and I had asked him to send me some beats, and he sent me a couple, and the one for Favorite Girl really stuck out to me. I really liked that one. So I started, trying to meds the rhythm and, figure out what I wanted to write to it. And I was actually talking to this guy, like this guy was pursuing me at the time. And, he kept saying, like, he wanted to talk to me, he wanted to be with me. And I was kind of like nudging him off because, he had a few women, to keep it real. Like, he had a few. I'd known him to have a few women. Like, I didn't know him to be a faithful guy. And I just told him, I was texting him, and I was just like, I don't really want to be in this relationship. I don't really want to be in a relationship with you because I know you have a lot of girls, And he was just like, oh, but you're my favorite. And it kind of stuck with me. Yeah, it kind of stuck with me, like, ever since then. So, like, a couple of days later, I was like, you know what, let me, like, take that and run with it. And that's kind of how I came up with, like, favorite girl, knowing that you're always the favorite, whether you're with a guy and maybe that, he's your man and you're his favorite, or you're not together, for whatever reason, but you know that you're the favorite.
Wow. So I don't know if you're old enough or if they even still say, but back in my day, when a man come and sweet talking like that, they would say lyrics. And I would have to say this is serious lyrics, because he was dropping lyrics that literally turned into lyrics. I love it. What a great story.
I still do say that to guys sometimes. I'll be like, okay, lyrics, like, they try to come with their talk, but, we don't fall for that.
Yeah, but he's turned into a song. I love it. I love it. That's a great, funny story. Every time I hear that song, I will think of that. And I got to tell you, though, respect to whoever he was, because at least he didn't deny and try to, tell a lie and give it to you straight and forward. Enough of them about, but you're the favorite. So it's now you to choose. Good stuff. We are on Synergy today with our guest, Nefatari, who is what I consider to be, and she agrees with me, a true creative, definite artist, a musician, as well as model. So, Nefatari, let's spend the next few minutes talking to young aspiring females who may be interested in fashion, right? Because for young ladies, many of them are, particularly now in the age of social media, working very hard, it seems like, to become quote unquote fashion famous, social media famous. You have done work for some of the major labels, fashion labels. So what would be the first step that you would tell a young woman to take towards becoming a professional model?
Well, I always say, a lot of girls, like, hit me up in my DM and ask me, like, oh, how can I become a model, et cetera. And I always say, like, start where you are, So if you want to start, one of the things, when I decided, okay, I'm going to start modeling again or whatever, was that, like, I just reached out to people around me and found photographers around me and started shooting, and you're going to need pictures. That's the thing. So just start where you are. Like, you can always find, either you get a camera yourself, or, you might know a friend who has a camera and who is passionate about, like, photography, and just start shooting. Go outside in really, really good daylight, put on really limited makeup and just start practicing shooting, so that, one, you can get used to being in front of a camera, and two, you have some type of pictures to show people. If somebody's like, oh, okay, you want to be a model, let me see some pictures, And then the second thing I would say, too, is to, like, when you do go out on auditions or anything, always go with a friend. A lot of times it's the young girls who sort of ask me about this. So I always tell them to, like, bring a friend if they're going to go shoot with somebody who they don't know, or, if they're going to go on an audition, because it just helps, one, to be safe, because you don't know who these people are sometimes, or the locations where the auditions are. And two, it helps to, have somebody along on the journey with you, for support. And then the last thing I'll say is, like, be resilient. You have to be resilient. You're going to get a lot of no's. That's just the nature of it. If you want to get jobs, you're going to have to go on a lot of castings and auditions, and you're not going to get them all the time. It's just impossible for everybody to get all the jobs that are there, right? Because there are going to be 100 girls there on the line also waiting to audition, or waiting to be seen. So you're not going to get everything, but you just have to take that no and just keep going. Take it as part of the game. It's not that you're not great. It's just you're not what they're looking for that job. So you move on to the next one.
Wow, 3 great tips for success for young ladies looking to enter in and stay in the fashion world. So start where you are. Get those picks done and get them done nicely, tastefully, and fix up yourself, man. Good lighting. Good lighting, guys. Be safe. Take someone. If you don't know, going on a go-see, going for a shoot, take someone. Be safe, young ladies. We know all kinds of horrible things are happening out here. In South Florida, we have a problem with human trafficking. I mean, across the nation. Atlanta, you do too. So be safe. And lastly, from CoverGirl Nef, be resilient. Don't take the no's personally, right? If not this one, then the next one. Wow. So good stuff, Nefatari. Now, in terms of music, right? Similar industries, but, overlapping, a little bit different. Do you notice any differences in terms of, like, gender expectations or treatment or so on in the music industry?
I think it's hard overall. It's just really hard, period, for men and for women. In terms of expectations, I don't know if we call this an expectation or not, but yeah, some people might call it an expectation. One big one is generally, just clearly is just the expectation for women to be romantically involved with you. You know what I mean? That expectation is not there for men. And so a lot of women experience, DJs, producers, managers, artists.
Harassing them. Let's call it what it is. Harassing them.
Yeah. Yeah. And like coercing them, harassing them, whatever, into being romantically involved with them when you just came to all you wanted to do was voice the rhythm, or all you wanted to do was get your music played. You know what I'm saying? Or all you wanted to do was to have somebody, represent you and work on your behalf, work on your team, and then it turns into, oh, this guy is like now trying to like kiss me, or he's trying to talk to me, or like he's now asking me like to go on dates, and it's like that's not what I was here for, And I'm probably 100% sure that they're not doing that to like 90% of the men. I don't know, maybe some men are going through that, but I'm pretty sure like 95% of men are not experiencing that, and so that's a difference in expectation.
Yes. And, it's unfortunate that when I ask this question of women, it's almost always this is one of the answers. And all I have to say is world, music industry, fashion industry, we have to do better. We have to make improvements. This. I beat the dead horse a couple of weeks ago about Me Too, so I'm not going to go there. But you all know Atlanta. We got problems in this area, and we've got to do better for our daughters, our sisters, our nieces, our granddaughters, all of our women, our mothers. All right. So you just mentioned, talking about team members for an artist, for a creative. And some of them kind of overlap because in modeling you have typically your agent and or manager as well. When building a team for creating and distributing your music, who are the key players? Who do you think that it's imperative? What roles are imperative for an artist to have on board?
Well, I would say you definitely need somebody like what we call a roadie. You need somebody who can go on the road with you, whether you're going to the studio or, going to a show or going to a club to try and promote your music, you know what I'm saying, or going to a radio interview. It's really, really helpful, especially as a female, but even for men too. Like they always have a roadie to have somebody go on the road with them to whenever they have to go out, to do things for music. It helps for safety. It helps to, have that person maybe deal with certain things while you're doing the creative stuff. Maybe they need to talk to someone about the logistics at a radio station while you know what I mean, just do your interview.
Collect the money.
Yeah, collect the money. That's another thing. Yeah. I don't know. I always like to collect my own money, but
I'm with you though. I like that. I'm with you on that.
But yeah, but even that. But sometimes, there have been people who collected money for me. And so so it's good, and it's just good to have the support. Like, that support is just I can't even explain how valuable that is to just have a body there with you, and when you're on the road. And then I would say also to have a manager or have somebody who helps with those sort of like administrative duties. You know what I'm saying? Especially as like an upcoming artist, you might not get a big manager right now, or you might not get somebody who's like been in the business for years, but at least have somebody on the team who can like help play that role. So who can speak to people on your behalf, reach out to DJs for you, because you just can't do it on your own. It's just so much to get done. Having somebody do outreach really helps, It could be anything, somebody getting your tracks together for you on a flash drive and making sure that they always have that flash drive that shows anything. So somebody to handle those, like, administrative things is helpful, too, whether you want to call it, like, an assistant or a manager, quote unquote, And then a publicist is also really good too to have on your team. They might not stay on your team like consistently. Maybe you just hire them whenever you drop a song or whenever you have something big coming, or if you just did a big show. But a publicist is also really vital to have in your phone, that phone number, so that you can call on them when something big happens and they can get the word out there.
Very nice. So for your key players, you believe a roadie, a manager, assistant, and a publicist. Somebody to support, somebody to help open doors for you, and somebody to shout down and say, yes, we did it, we're doing it, this is what's going on. Good stuff. Sounds like a nice team. Wonderful, wonderful team. Nefatari, I got to tell you, girl, it has been a wonderful time listening to and learning from you. And it is always funny to me how quickly the time flies when we're having so much fun. So tell us, what is next for Nefatari? New music, tours, shows, cover of the next, which big magazine will you tell us?
Yeah, well, I had a great start to the 2019 year. I had the CoverGirl ad that came out, and it's in the Times Square CoverGirl store right now in Times Square, Manhattan. Yeah, the ad is there. And then I did New York Fashion Week, and then I was in Vogue Korea, and I was in British Vogue. And so I like started off the year with a bang, and I just want to continue doing that. I'm like continuing to, go on auditions for the modeling and grinding with that. And then I have my new single, Favorite Girl, just hit 90,000 streams on Spotify. So I'm going to continue pushing Favorite Girl, and we plan to do a music video for Favorite Girl, so look out for that really soon. And then I also am dropping a new remix soon called it's a remix for Alkaline's song called Black Heart. It's like an unofficial remix that I'm dropping, so just for the streets, so look out for that as well on SoundCloud and YouTube.
Wow. Big things are going for Nefatari, our cover girl, our own cover girl here.
Yeah, thank you.
Today. Yeah, man, good things are going on. So definitely, our last question, but I believe one of our most important questions of the day, how do we book Nefatari?
You can definitely book me by going to teamnefatari@gmail.com, email teamnefatari, Nefatari @gmail.com. Definitely hit me up on Instagram at Nefatari Music, Nefatari Music, MUSIC. And check out my music videos on YouTube at youtube.com/NefatariTV.
So, guys, if you need to get a hold of her, you have heard how to book Nefatari, how to support Nefatari, and how to keep up with all of the wonderfully creative things that she is doing here with us. Oh, my goodness. Nef, CoverGirl Nef, as I believe is that your Twitter handle, your Instagram handle?
It's my little hashtag. CoverGirl
It's your hashtag.
Is the hashtag.
Okay. I know that's what has kind of stuck in my head, and I
know.
tell you, it's a good thing. Yep. You doing good with the branding because it is stuck in my head, and it's a great thing. I want to say thank you so much for making the time today to join us here on Synergy, and I would like to invite you back. So certainly reach out and let us know when the next big, fun, amazing thing happens for Nefatari, and keep sending us your good music.
Synergy, I will. Thank you for having me.
It is our pleasure. Synergy, it is time for us to say goodbye for this week only. And until we meet again, I say live in synergy, live with synergy, where music, business, and culture synchronize. This is Andrea John Baptiste saying see you next week. Actually, hear you next week.
That's our time. That's our chat. Now it's time to call it a wrap. Tune in next week at 5 for another episode of Synergy Live, where music, business, and culture synchronize. Until then, hit us up online at livewithsynergy.com. Synergy is a production of Black Iowa TV. Synergy is brought to you by Axum Management Capabilities. www.axumhq.com. That's AXUMHQ.com.